Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we have a bumper week of racing with Goodwood and Galway on this week. There are going to be a couple of selections at Galway as well, but I'm mainly going to be focusing on Goodwood. And we will start with day one at Goodwood, starting with the 140 at Goodwood, the Coral Handicap over 5 furlongs. Don't forget, free members and premium members, obviously, free members are able to access the first race of the day and see all of the ratings for the first race of the day, but you won't see the ratings for the rest of them. They will be in alphabetical order, unless you sign up. If you're a premium or pro member, you will see all of the ratings, obviously. So we'll start off talking about the 5 furlong handicap at Goodwood. And you know what? I think there's 3 in this that I like. 3 in a 14 runner race. I normally wouldn't do that, but they're just about big enough prices that I'm actually going to back all 3. I think they will all go very close, and I have highlighted them in previous videos and analysis. A couple of them with this race in mind, and one who I thought was unlucky last time out. So let's go through them and we'll just see which one I highlighted here. So the first one is Rarsell. I highlighted Rarsell actually back in May the 30th, for the Stewards Cup. I wondered whether they were going to step Rarsell up to 6 furlongs and go in the Stewards Cup. Now, the fact that I thought he could be interesting in the Stewards Cup, and he's actually running in what's not as difficult as the Stewards Cup, the Coral Handicap, he has to be one that I'm interested in. If you watch his race last time out, I thought he was unlucky. Just at a crucial time, he didn't get the clearest of runs. And I don't think he's been running badly. His effort behind Regional when 3rd at Haydock was a good effort. He wasn't beaten too far at Sandown in a Group 3. Back into a handicap last time, he ran well. Now, his form at Goodwood is also very good. He's got 2 wins to his name. In a handicap, he beat Clarendon House and Mockatil. In a apprentice handicap, he beat Glamorous Breeze and 4 a Day. And then last year, he actually ran in the Group 2 here, the King George Qatar Stakes. He was beaten a neck by Cardham, and if you actually watch it, he didn't get the clearest of runs. If he'd got the clear run, he may well have even won that. So he's probably better than a handicapper here, and dropped £1 for his recent effort at Ascot. I think he could have won off 102, so dropping to 101, he's got to be of interest. And although he's favourite, you can still get 4-1 about him. As you know, I don't look at Bet365 or their outlier odds. 4s are readily available pretty much everywhere, though. So he's definitely going to turn up with a good chance. I highlighted Rarsell. I said didn't get the clearest of runs at a crucial time. I'm not sure he would have won, but it would have at least placed. I'd argue the Shergo Cup Dash would be an easier race, and he should take all the beating for a decent pot. Now, this is actually a decent pot as well. It's 30 grand for the winner, so I can see why they're running here. And I do wonder whether the horse watchers might have targeted Goodwood rather than Royal Ascot. They've got another one later on in the week that I'm sure will be a selection in Ross Collin, who I think would have also won last time out, but for getting blocked at a crucial time. Anyway, more on that later. Let's continue with tomorrow. The second horse in this race that is interesting is Lord Ridderford. Down £3 last time out to 84. He's won the last 2 years off 87 and 88. It looks like this is all they're after. His last 2 wins, let me just double check that. Wins only. His last 2 wins have both been at Goodwood. He's actually got 3 wins at Goodwood as well. He will be slowly away. 2 years ago, he won on soft heavy in places, beating El Astronaut, so the ground won't be an issue. Last year, he won on good to firm. Again, as I said, the ground won't be an issue for him. He'll act on all the grounds. He'll be down this near side rail. He'll be off the bridle early and be running on. But I kind of think Rarsell might do similar. And also our third one is also going to be given a very similar ride. So we do need a lot of pace. If they crawl, we could end up having 3 poor runs. But I'll be disappointed if one of these doesn't take all the beating here. So, yeah, Lord Ridderford, I think it's fairly obvious why. Last 2 wins here off 87 and 88. Comes back again off 84. You can be guaranteed that this has been their target all season. The final horse that caught my eye tomorrow, again, I've highlighted this one a little while ago. Alligator Alley dropped £1 to 93. Now, he's probably the one that, if he ran poorly, I wouldn't be as shocked, whereas I'd be very surprised if Rarsell or Lord Ridderford run poor races. Alligator Alley does look a tricky customer, but I thought he ran okay last time when beaten by Bond Chairman and Mondamech, two horses that are well handicapped. I thought it was a good run for third at Doncaster. Now, he's come back here to Goodwood, and I said, look, he's only been to Goodwood once. He was second in a Group 3, not second in. A bit of a typo there, I forgot the space. He was second in a Group 3 behind Liberty Beach. And again, if you go and watch that race, he was actually really unlucky. If he'd got a clear run, I think he would have won. Donegal O'Brien didn't get a clear run yet. Donegal O'Brien was the jockey at that point. Didn't get a clear run aboard the Joseph O'Brien trained Alligator Alley. And they got beat by the... Interestingly, they got beat by the John Quinn trained Liberty Beach. Now, obviously, we like a John Quinn trained horse in this race. Do we? Yeah, Lord Redford. So it'd be kind of strange if Alligator Alley finished second to Lord Redford. They'd be, please don't run any horses in against us. But I think Alligator Alley has been aimed at a race, and I'm hoping this is it. If you go back and watch his effort at Epsom, no effort whatsoever from Jason Watson. Go and watch his effort at York. A bit of an effort, but not completely throwing the book at him. He's dropped from a mark of 106 in February down to this 93 mark. So he is well handicapped. It's all about whether he can actually put that in on the track. I'm hoping for a big run here from Alligator Alley. And he's the best price of the three if you're just wanting the bigger price one. Alligator Alley is available at 14s. I think that's a fair price. I'd be really disappointed if Rarsell, Lord Ridderford or Alligator Alley doesn't win the race. You can be sure that pretty much all three of them are going to be waiting out the back. Rarsell is going to pick up. Lord Ridderford is going to pick up. Alligator Alley is probably going to travel best of all. It's whether he picks up. But they would be my three for this race. I don't like doing three in 14 runner handicaps, but I can't ignore any of those three. Moving on to the 250, as you'll see, the race, because I'm not a premium member, obviously I am, but I'm showing it from a free member's view. They are in alphabetical order rather than ratings order, and there's no stats or very few stats that you can see. Thankfully, that's true, because the horse I like here is actually the bottom one, Soto's Sizzler. Now, Soto's Sizzler, I highlighted for a race at Epsom that I was really confident that if he went back there, he would go very close. I think he was second in it last year, beaten by, who was his second behind? Just having a look on my other screen. Beaten by Royal Champion, who's obviously, didn't he go and win at Royal Ascot? He did, he won the listed race at Royal Ascot, and has recently finished third in a Group 2, so that was good form. I was really surprised that Soto Sizzler didn't go back to Epsom. But I do wonder whether Gary's had this as his plan instead, rather than that Epsom race. So he moved from David Menuisier to Gary Moore. He's had one disappointing run at Kempton, completely ignore that run. He then ran a really good race for third at Epsom on soft ground, which didn't quite suit him and didn't quite suit the way the race was run as well. He was the only one to come from a long way back, picked up really strongly and just faded late on. Now, Tom Queally rode that day. I think it's very interesting to see the jockey booking. The jockey booking for Gary Moore is Ryan Moore. So, obviously, it's his son. So, is that an angle to be looking at? Well, yes, because Ryan obviously rides this track well. But actually, if we have a look through his form, when he finished second at Epsom, he was ridden by Ryan Moore. When he won at Epsom, he was ridden by Ryan Moore. When he won at Newmarket, he was ridden by Ryan Moore. The last time any jockey rode him was a different jockey rode him to a good performance was Jimmy Quinn back in 2019 when they won at Epsom. And Sheen Murphy when they won at Epsom the time before that. But Ryan Moore is the last jockey to really get the best out of Soto Sizzler. He's going to be weighted with out the back, and hopefully he picks up strongly. It didn't work last year when William Buick rode him. He was well off the pace, never got involved. But that was off a mark of 106. As we can see here, he's only rated 99 now, so he's £7 lower. So instantly that would give him a bit of a better chance. He also finished 9th I think in this race, mile and 1, is this the... This is yeah, in this race. He finished 9th in 2019. Only beaten 3 1/4 lengths off a mark of 93. So a pretty good effort, and I think he's a better horse since then. And he's also won a race at Goodwood he actually won it at 20 to 1, over a mile and 4, over nearly a mile and 4. So he does stay further, so the ground shouldn't be an issue. I think that'll bring him, that'll mean that he'll stay further and he'll be finishing strongly. It's all about Ryan Moore getting his tactics right. He's got to wait out the back, but he's got to get him to get there without doing much and then hopefully pick up late on. I mean, even when he was 7th of 8 3 runs ago for David Manouzier, he wasn't beaten miles, he wasn't beaten out of sight. That came off a mark of 103. Yeah, I think he can run a really big race here for Ryan Moore. I think it's a very interesting jockey booking. Obviously, Gary probably gets first dibs of Ryan Moore if he's not got a Aidan O'Brien horse. But yeah, I think Gary might have targeted this race instead of that Epsom race, which I think they would have probably won. But this is obviously worth 50 grand. So hopefully this is what they've been waiting for. Hasn't run for 98 days. So he's very interesting. Soto Sizzler you can get 14s at enough bookmakers to suggest that he's 14 to 1. Moving on to the 505 at Goodwood. So we're missing out some of the group races and the maidens. Just quickly, the maiden, the 215. It's difficult for newcomers to win this race, and I imagine Array will take all of the beating there, but will be priced accordingly. In the Nicholson Gin Vintage Stakes, Hartum has the best form and is surely going to run a big race. It's whether one of those newcomers potentially is above average in Iberian or Witness Stand, but it's not a race for me. The 4 o'clock, I think the course specialist Kinross will take all the beating there, but again, it's not a race for me. And the Goodwood Cup, I'm not totally sure I agree with the suggestion that the drop-in trip for Courage Mon Ami will affect him and bring Coltrane closer. I think he's just the best horse, Courage Mon Ami, and he's just still learning. He won going away in a 1:06 handicap. I think they'll give him a very similar ride, and he will take all the beating. But it's not the race for me that I'm going to get involved in. The handicaps are what I much prefer. So, looking at the 505 handicap at Goodwood, who do I like? Well, again, if you follow my videos, you'll know who I'll talk about here. And that horse is Bridestones. So, I actually suggested that they might come for the East Dean handicap on Saturday. It's a 3-year-old race, and I thought they might take on the boys. Now, they're not. They're running in this race, which is a 3-year-old plus race. But only 3 of them are actually older than 3. They are Bellhaven, Espresso, and System. System hasn't had a run for nearly a year and isn't one that I'm that interested in. I think the Bellhaven doesn't have good enough form. The one that does, and is probably a danger, is Espresso, and could well get an easy lead at the front for Charlie Johnston. Obviously, the Johnston horses from the front at Goodwood always seem to run big races. But I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to stick with the horse I like, Bridestones, who doesn't have the greatest of draws, or doesn't have a very good draw at all, in 20. Neither does the favourite, Roaya, who's drawn in 18. And I think that might affect Roaya more than Bridestones, because Roaya likes to go forward, whereas Bridestones, up until last time when they actually did go forward, the previous efforts, she's been held out the back. You look at her effort when winning on soft ground at Yarmouth, she was held up. You look at her effort in the Fillies Group 3, the Fred Darling, she was held up, ran on quite strongly on soft ground. I think they'll revert to hold-up tactics. I think they'll be forced to revert to hold-up tactics here. And I really like her off a mark of 93. I think she can run a big race in a handicap. It's all about whether that draw is as negative as it could be. But I'm hopeful. I think the ground isn't an issue, and I think the way the race is going to be run could well play into Bridestone's hands. She's going to be out the back. Hopefully she can finish fast enough. And she is available at 10 to 1. And the final race that I do want to have a look at, and I think this is probably my strongest one, is in the 5:35 at Goodwood. I really, really like this horse. And I actually made this tweet: the handicap error of the week. Funny Story, down 1 to 92 on collateral form. And I actually made a few points about it. So Funny Story returned from 231 days off the track when finishing 5th. Now, when she finished 4th, at Newmarket, she was beaten by Quino, Washington Heights and Eminency. Now, obviously, we know what Quino's done since then. That was at Newmarket. Quino has since won 2 other races. Washington Heights went on to finish 2nd in one of those and then finished 4th. Eminency went on to finish 4th in one of those. The form has worked out really well. I think that was a perfectly good effort from Funny Story. And to be honest, she travelled best of all. She travelled better than those 3 in front of her. They then went into a race at Nottingham. I was surprised she went off 3 to 1. I thought that was mental. She beat Spirit of the Applause comfortably. And if you watch it, Rob Hornby doesn't have to ask for much of an effort. Funny Story then went to Ayr in a listed race and finished 5th, behind Makarova, Marine Wave, Royal Acclaim and Nymphadora. Well, Nymphadora has since come out and won a listed race. Royal Acclaim has come out and finished 2nd in a Group 3. Makarova has since finished 2nd in a Group 3. I think the only one who let that form down a little bit was Marine Wave, who finished 9th, not beaten that far really in a Group 3. But as you can see, they were running her in a Group 3. She'd run in a listed race. She'd run in a Group 3, and she'd won a novice stakes. So they really like Marine Wave as well. So I don't think it was a bad listed race at all. And yet the handicapper actually dropped Funny Story from 93 that Funny Story was going to go up to, down to 92. And I thought that was crazy, to be honest. I was really, really surprised about that. And delighted, in the fact that as soon as she runs in a handicap, I will be very, very interested in her. She runs in a handicap here. I put she's definitely one to keep on side. She runs in a handicap, and okay, she has the improving kit eye for Charlie Johnston in the race against her. But I think that's making our horse a better price. I would be really disappointed if any of those behind were able to beat Funny Story. I think she's better than a 92 rated filly, and I think she will go really close here. She's got stall 1. She'll be covered up. I think she'll be able to jump out, be restrained just a little bit, and then hopefully pick up really strongly. Rob Hornby's ridden her to her victory at Nottingham, so she knows she's good. I really like Funny Story, to be honest. I kind of think this is like we had one a few days ago, where we had said the favourite was making the market and ended up running really disappointingly. I can't remember who it was. I kind of think the favourite is making the market here. We're seeing Johnston, we're seeing 2 wins on the bounce, we're seeing Unexposed and going, must be favourite. I think Funny Story's got better form already in the book. And yeah, I really like her at 5 to 1. I think she would, if I had to pick a horse that was going to be my nap of the day, it would be Funny Story. So they're my selections for Tuesday. At Goodwood, nothing at Galway yet. The first one will be in the Galway Plate and the second one will be in the Galway Hurdle. Those selections therefore are, just a quick recap, in the Coral Handicap, the 140, they are Rarsell to show that he's better than a handicapper, loves the track, currently 4 to 1. Lord Ridderford to bounce back in his race. I'm sure if he can win it again the following year, it will be called the Lord Ridderford Coral Handicap. Won it for the last 2 years, off a lower mark this year. This would have been the plan. And Alligator Alley, who probably should have won a Group 2 if he'd got a clear run a couple of years ago when trained by Joseph O'Brien. Looks to have, is well handicapped. Just hoping he does put it all in. I like Soto Sizzler at 14s in the, what time is that race? The 250. Ryan Moore booked to ride. He's ridden him the last couple of times that Soto Sizzler has run really well. Gary Moore, I'm hoping, has targeted this rather than the race at Epsom that I think he would have won. I think he is well handicapped on his best form. and hopefully they looked at this race, and Ryan and Gary come up with a plan a little while ago for this. In the 505, the fillies handicap, I like Bridestones. I think Frankie's got to give her a good ride for sure. Right out the back, wait, and hopefully be picking up strongly late on. And in the final race, funny story to demonstrate that actually she is a listed horse at least, running in a handicap, and off her 92 mark she can run a really, really big race. Thanks for listening. Hopefully, well, we will be back tomorrow with more for day 2 of Goodwood. Is it Galway tomorrow as well? Let's just have a quick look. Yes, it will be Galway tomorrow as well.